Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are going to be continuing the narration and character voicing for the main story of Arknights, episode 11, aka chapter 11, Return to Mist. And as always here at the beginning, let me just quickly say, if you are new to the Arknights main story in any shape or form or have not seen the story up until this point, playlist for this entire thing is in the description of the video. Pick it up from wherever you left off, or even if you are still at the beginning of the story, the playlist is there. Go in order, because otherwise you will be lost. Believe me, this is not one of those things you can just pick up in the middle of it. But anyway, outside of that, let me also apologize for the previous episode where I completely forgot to read the entry that we got into the book of the Knights of the Tower for beating stage 11-7. Completely slipped my mind, and I guess it's literally because I read it like maybe 3 hours before recording of that, and it was probably in the back of my mind as, you've read it, it's fine. So I continued on. But anyway, before we begin with anything today, or rather before we begin with the narration normally, I'm gonna go over that one first, and later in the same episode we're gonna be reading another entry in that thing anyway. So yeah, we're gonna get two today. Sort of. But yeah, anyway, for those of you who want to skip the rest of the recap section of this intro here, timestamp is in the comment section, pinned comment below as always, and let us begin with on the previous part. So, last time we pretty much began with the story proper now that the past is out of the way and the setup is established, and certain truths have been revealed. Our teams have once again split up into pretty much three major teams. We have one team with Amia, who is pretty much running distractions and keeping the Sarkas busy around the city so everything else can function. We have Feist and the Doctor, who went to the very same factory where Feist is from, and that is being helmed by his grandmother. And we have Allardale, who is negotiating with merchants to acquire goods for the Salvation Corps and the Rhode Island team, so they can operate in the city, but she's also trying to bargain her armor away, or rather sell, in quotes, her armor away for those same goods, considering that in war times physical things have more value than actual money, of course. But Siege is basically having none of that, and she tells Allardale that she should not be selling that armor away. And Siege and the Glasgow gang go and they have some negotiations with the merchant. Let's put it that way. In the meantime, the Doctor and Feist meet with Catherine, aka Feist's grandmother, and establish first contact with her. While all of that is happening in the orphanage that is being helmed by Golding, they are pretty much rehearsing a stage play through that they taught to the children about the past of Victoria. And as we see that one play out, someone else is in the audience, or rather, the only two audience members technically should be Golding and Molly, but someone else is behind them and is applauding the performance of the children, and it is none other than Lieutenant Colonel Latou. Pardon. They have a conversation, and Latou excuses himself after that. But Golding is suspicious about Latou's appearance and is trying to get to the bookstore through which she is exchanging information with the Salvation Corps, but it's not as easy to achieve today as it is normally, considering all the kerfuffle that is happening. And on the other end, Molly, who is looking for the children who are out and playing, gets stopped by Latou, but also gets knocked out by our green-yellowish buddy, shape-shifting buddy, who pretty much immediately acquires the form of Molly and goes and infiltrates the orphanage to see what information they can acquire. But as they go into the orphanage, someone else approaches them, and it is none other than the Banshee, Logos, who finally makes his appearance, and Logos and Molly, in quotes, have a conversation that pretty much is not happening in the normal terms, but they are communicating between each other through the very same stage play that we have seen the kids perform during that entire part. Meanwhile, as the Sarkas are tightening their grip around the city, a group of their mercenaries is approaching the factory where Feist and Doctor are meeting Catherine, and it is a group that consists of a young female Sarkas who will be an operator in the future, considering the current banner, wink. But yeah, Paprika is with them, and they are there to collect pretty much the heads of this of the different factories who could or probably know about the secret Sarkas supply line that they are using to get goods into the city. So pretty much it's a roundup for execution kind of thing. And on top of it, obviously a very effective scare tactic that is dubious as fuck. But anyway, Catherine manages to get a moment with Feist and the Doctor to have a conversation with them. She tells them about a secret compartment in her drawer in her office to go and look for the information that they need in there. And she gets pretty much taken away by the two that came for her. Meanwhile, Ellerdale and Siege and the Glasgow team have their own problem, as they are being rounded up and pursued by Sarkas forces, in which Ellerdale gets injured. And we see a nice little moment afterwards where Siege is helping her exchange her bandages, and they have a heart-to-heart between each other. And later after that, we see a little moment in which Ellerdale and her maid, Alishi, have a nice little, another heart-to-heart of sorts, where they talk about the past in the very same garden where we saw them talk for the first time at the beginning of this chapter. They talk about the garden, the flowers, the gardener who went away 25 years ago, aka a year after all the events that we saw at the beginning. And Alishi asks for a moment to walk around the garden for one last time before they leave. But as she starts walking around the garden, Ellerdale notices a pretty much fiery inferno approaching them from the sky. And as it hits, we see that the one issuing the order, or pretty much tossing that fire, was none other than our dear old, very pompous, highborn sanguinarch of vampires, together with Latou, who are observing the fiery inferno from the distance. And as the sanguinarch is he's just enjoying himself. He's listening to the blood hiss and evaporate, and he's having a grand old time, while everybody else suffers. Oh boy. But anyway, that will be it for the recap, so let's go in. Alright, like I said, we are gonna be beginning with the thing I accidentally skipped over last time. So let us go in here and include the description for 11-7, being Richard Seymour. And on the left we have the identifying badge of the Captain of the Watch, who leads the Knights of the Tower, an honor, and doubly so a responsibility. And on the right the text says, Richard Seymour was the son of the 2nd Duke of Stanford. He became a Knight of the Tower at the age of 16. He fought bravely to defend his king during the war between the Aslan and the Draco, killing many enemies, among them the nephew of the Padishah Aslan. Although he was taken prisoner, he was pardoned by the Aslan king at the end of the war, preserving his right of succession. Sir Richard was named Captain of the Watch at the age of 41, leading the Knights of the Tower until his death. So yeah, pretty much, if it was not already noticeable what this is gonna be about, every single one of these top entries at least is pretty much gonna be an entry about one of the one of the big knights of the tower. And I do love that you can see their like emblems plus the like shape of the sword representing them. In this case, also for Sir Richard, we have a sword and a shield. But yeah, interestingly enough, the last one seems to be ripped out. But yeah, anyway, we shall continue today from stage 11-9, titled A Life for a Life. And also, before I do that, let me just switch over, because I'll need this, this one rather. So yeah, A Life for a Life. Helplessness is the base shade to all life. One final quick thing before I continue with this. There will be immediately almost emotional moments in this one, so apologies if I am trying to maintain a certain character's voice, but also cannot obviously yell at the same time like they would in that very moment. Also, outside of it, there will be one character at the beginning talking who doesn't get, because of this whole situation, how shall I put it, doesn't get named who they are addressing our main person here at the beginning, but I'm just doing a coin flip and I'm going with one person and I'm gonna say who I believe it is later, but I think it's kind of obvious, but it's also not fully obvious because someone else is supposed to be there. Ugh, it's a bit complicated. You'll understand what I mean by it when we begin. But anyway, let's begin. There are some things that will never change, Elishi. I'll grow up to be a steam knight, just like Sir Lynch. No, even greater than Sir Lynch. I'll protect you all, and I'll drive every scoundrel away. I'll uphold the glory of Cumberland, just like my great-great-great-great-grandmother. I promise this, Elishi. You'll see. Elishi! Hold on, I'll promise that I... Go, Ellerdale. The vampire's coming, he cannot find you. Elishi is here. I have to... You have to follow her orders. She will not allow you to deviate. You can't... We can. The Duke has ordered us to help you complete your mission, but we are not your servants. Do not forget her instructions. Do not forget your place. There is only one thing that you must do. Fulfill your duty. For an instant, Ellerdale forgets where she is and who she is with. She wants to run towards the fire that is burning away at what little remains of her life. Just like that night 26 years ago when she wanted to run towards another fire to stop Parliament's men from taking her father. That is your sole responsibility. Ellerdale's eyes open wide. The tears in them evaporate before the fire. But she sees a great silhouette is rising in the burning garden. Is it the damaged suit of steam armor? The steam armor upon which she placed so many dreams and hopes. Return to the person of interest, now. Through so many trials and tribulations, Ellerdale had prayed that her great ancestor would descend into the steam armor and help her overcome all challenges. Now she sees the ancient armor breathing the flames of hell. She sees the shadow in the fire roar towards her. It is not her hope. She has strayed far from it. Even if her ancestor truly returned, Ellerdale knows it could only be her worst nightmare. Tell her I will obey her will, as always. I don't understand, Your Highness. I thought you were pleased with our hospitality. You even graced us with your presence at the banquets, did you not? You like this place. I will not deny that you have brought me joy from time to time. I find your petty flattery and exaggerated cordiality adorable. You must be mistaken. I have no links to the Dukes of the Resistance. I swear. Any trouble must be the work of the Cumberland woman. I'll expose her. Sanguinarch, Your Highness, please, I'll give you anything. My collection, my money. Take all of it. Just... What good are those to me, my dear? You wouldn't kill me, would you? You would... We should hold a wine tasting. You haven't sampled my private reserve yet. I'll be alright, won't I, Lieutenant Colonel Latou? This is Londinium. The Sarkas are just here to protect Londinium at the invitation of the Duke of Cavendish. They wouldn't kill an innocent, of course. Take him to the front. I tire of the noise. Begin. Begin what? Run in when you hear the order. Confirm everyone is dead and you can come back alive. Into the fire. A fire that big. No, I'll burn to death. You're going to do exactly that. The ancient Sarka steps on the heart of Victoria and raises a finger. He did not see what was chasing him. As the Sarka's warrior said, he follows the order instinctively, running forward like a man possessed. In the fire, the slightest chance of survival. On his tail, the scent of certain death. But he only takes a few steps before stumbling in confusion. Blood spurts from his body. It no longer belongs to him. It serves another master now. At its new master's command, it charges forth towards the collapsing banner, towards the raging flames, chewing through the ruins, swallowing the rubble, covering the cinders. Nothing can stop the march of blood, not even fire. He was right, Latou. I haven't sampled his private reserve. We should, shouldn't we? This is it. Wait here. Lund, Charlie. This is where you kill us. How do you know? Simple. You never told the workers what you were building in the past 2 years. But a factory boss gets a few clues. I guessed you were close to the final stages, the way you people have been pressing us lately, and that means it's time for those who know too much to die. You lied to me. I'm just getting my affairs in order. What could lowly workers like us do after growling for the past 3 years? Don't you dare try anything. You and you, come with me. We'll take a look around. Keep a close eye on her, Paprika. Alright. Can I have a smoke? Okay. Thanks. Did you ever consider running? Where? And anyway, it'd only make trouble for the workers left behind. I've been thinking about what you do to us. Looks like whoever's giving the orders still has something of a heart. But what do you mean? They said to get rid of us quietly so that the workers don't panic, didn't they? If my life buys a chance for for the others to live, then so be it. You think the rest of us old-timers you brought here don't get that? I don't get it. How old are you, girl? Doctor, do you know the story of the Steam Knights? I've heard of them. Granny used to build them. It was a point of pride for us. With our own hands, we built the armor worn by the by the defenders of Londinium, the ones who defended our home. I wanted to see the birth of those great things, just like Granny, to take part in it. Granny's been through a lot. She saw how Londinium became what it is today, and I can see how disappointed she is. But I don't want to give up so soon. Must be this drawer. Hidden compartment, hidden compartment. Ah, here it is. Granny's incredible. I never known this desk had been altered if she hadn't told me. This is my badge and a notebook. I don't know who I'm writing this for, what I'm writing this for. Harvey died before Feist was born. Lindy tried to understand, but her sorrow turned into anger towards me. She blamed me for not stopping Harvey that day. I couldn't argue with her. I couldn't blame her for leaving Feist behind. I heard she remarried someone decent. Good for her. I never told Feist. I didn't want him to know that his father died for nothing, and that his mother left with hate in her heart. So, you grew up in Colombia? Yes, my grandma raised me. Mom and Dad were both mercenaries, but they're dead. Why did you become a mercenary then? To feed myself and Grandma. Sarkas are unwelcome most places, so I had to be a merc. What a good girl. So you agree with the Regent? You mean with occupying the city? I don't know. We do what we're paid to do. I don't know. I didn't know we were going to occupy such a big city. In Colombia, we were helping merchants smuggle goods that they didn't want people to know about, or hunting wild beasts. But I can tell you, that was the first time I saw Grim so excited. He said the Sarkas would get to live a decent life if we were successful. Grim? The smoker? Yes. Where's he now? I haven't seen him around in a while. He's dead. Aren't you sad about that? He always said that death and parting are a normal part of the mercenary life. Death and parting. All these years of chaos and the Victorians haven't learned the slightest thing about the Sarkas. Catch, girl. Huh? Catherine takes a little thing from the cigarette box and tosses it to Paprika. It is a small, soft, made of wool. It is small, soft, made of wool, and bright in color. This is a finger sleeve. Grim. You made it for the old merc, didn't you? His finger hurt because of an old wound, but he couldn't cut the smoking habit. I saw him hide it in his cigarette box. Guess he didn't want to get it dirty, even though you made it for him to use. He gave me the box when he left. Payment for smokes. Those few months. He never talked about you, but the moment I saw you, I knew you were the girl he was always thinking about. I don't know what he thought about the war, but I know without hearing it from him, you don't know what war is. I had a feeling Feist would leave. He's too much like Harvey. He thinks he can solve every problem with his wits. Seeing him reminds me of Harvey. I can't tell if I'm disappointed because the protest failed or because Harvey didn't understand what the nobles were made of. Maybe a little bit of both. I let Feist go. I knew I couldn't stop him. Doctor, I thought about what I was going to say to Granny before I brought you back. I thought I was prepared. We've seen so much in our time, but I think I owe her an apology. Your family. Catherine always looks strict and solemn. People forget that she's just an ordinary woman who lost her livelihood. The circus don't let workers into certain areas of the factories. They're definitely preparing some sort of weapon. They shouldn't have the resources to hold out this long, not with the dukes breathing down their necks. But from the material being sent to the factories, with what I know of their situation, all the signs point to them having their own supply line. None of this was supposed to concern me. All I can do is protect the workers. But I know the things I shouldn't have. Maybe deep down, I thought I could do more than I did when I watched Harvey go out into the streets. If Feist came back to me for help someday. Workers aren't allowed near it, but I know the place too well. There are only a few places suitable for a supply depot. Here, Doctor, Granny circled some places on the map. They'll be heavily guarded. Yes, it'll be hard to get close to the depots. I wish I could say goodbye to Granny. Guess it'll have to wait until next time. Let's go, Doctor. A lot of us don't actually know what we're fighting for. It's just, we don't have a place to go. We're not welcome anymore, anywhere. The King of Sarkas promised us a home, a country, a future. I spend time with you people. I can tell that some of you haven't actually fought before. What about you? I can fight. Have you killed anyone, girl? And I'm not talking about a villain you can kill without remorse. I mean real people. You're just a worker. You haven't killed anyone. Don't talk to me like you know what it means. You've been in Londinium for a while. You've heard of steam armor, haven't you? I heard it's a powerful weapon that hasn't been seen for a long time. Yes, it's a killing machine. I built killing machine after killing machine with these hands right here. I don't feel ashamed because those machines were used to defend the land I lived on. What about you, girl? Do you know what your weapon is for? Alright, and we will proceed into the after story, but before that, we have a new enemy to add to our descriptions here, and that is the Sarkas Wither Tank. Equipment of the Nachtzer army. Clearing up obstacles for the army's march, it is a powerful siege weapon, but its main role is to spread corruption. Alright, and we go into the after part. George, everyone willing to go is here. What about Tommy? No sign of him. That's fine. Volunteers only. George? You found what Catherine left for you, Feist. Was it what you were looking for? Yes. I'm glad. Now get going, before you can't. Wait, what's going on? Do you know why the Sarkas took Catherine? She knew too much. They're executing workers like her. Something didn't feel right, so I had Day climb to the top of the factory to check. What? Catherine kept it from us. She thought we didn't know anything. But we aren't stupid. We guessed what's going on. What are you gonna do? Nothing in particular. We've put up with the circus for a long time. More or less gotten used to it. Some folk think the circus will let us go, so long as we put up with them a little longer. Now they want to do away with Catherine. You'll die. Better than standing around and watching them kill Catherine. No one standing here has anything left to lose. Stop. You're with the Self-Salvation Corps. We've heard about you. Lots of us are happy for you. You've got more important things to do. Don't let Catherine's sacrifice be in vain. No. Doctor, I may have gotten some information from Granny. But as the leader of this factory, Granny knows more about the circus production lines than anyone else. She has significant strategic value, doesn't she? Without a doubt. I request help from Rhode Island. Are you there, Escalon? Here. I'm sure you've identified the hostiles in this sector. Describe the enemy deployment. They've tightened defenses, leaving gaps on the outside. It's mostly loosely organized mercenaries bands guarding the outer area. We need time. Distract the mercenaries and take out the sentries. On it. Thank you, Doctor. Ascalon. Feist takes a deep breath. He sticks his badge to his chest and goes in amongst the workers. Don't make any rash decisions, Feist. I'm not here as a member of the Self-Salvation Corps. I'm here as the grandson of Catherine, as someone who grew up in this factory. I belong here. Just like you, I don't want Catherine to die. I'm not gonna let her die, and I won't let you die either. The doctor's people will cut off the circus communications. Once we rescue Granny and the other factory bosses, we'll have plenty of time to get out of Highbury. I'll lead you to the core. Everyone will be safe. Everyone should be safe. The workers exchange stunned looks, but they see the fire of hope beginning to burn in each other's eyes. One by one, they get behind Feist. They have decided to trust Feist. Feist, I'm going too. Tommy, thanks. But don't. Why? You hesitated because your dad's not well, right? But... And there is something I need you to do. No matter the outcome, you will report to the circus that we staged a riot. But... It's important. I have to keep the ones who stay behind safe. Alright. Let's go then. We'll get the old hands back. The Londinian workers unanimously right. Catherine smokes her cigarette quietly. She watches as the circus drag one familiar face after another to the makeshift firing range. She sees on those familiar faces anger, disgust, resignation. Then, in the end, peace. She knows her turn will come soon. She feels a sense of calm that she has never felt before. Feist was right. Compromise and subservience will solve no problems. She must pay for her choices. But she got to see her grandson one last time and left him a little gift before she had to pay. That's enough. You're up, Grandma. Take her. I can walk on my own. Oh, Paprika. Grim never had you kill anybody, did he?
Never.
Here's your chance. Learn to kill.
This is how the Sarkas treat a kid.
I heard what you said to her. You're right, she doesn't know what war is. I didn't want to know what war was if I could help it. No Sarkas does. But you left us no choice. None of you did. That's why it's time for her to learn. I like that look in your eyes, Grandma. It's the same look I've seen on bodies who die with their eyes wide open. I've killed a lot, but it doesn't sit right with me killing someone who can't fight back. You can go back where you came from if you don't have the stomach for it. How do you know these workers didn't build the weapons that were used to kill your own people? Morals are for peacetime. This is war. It's an argument we never got to have on fair, equal ground. I don't need you to tell me that. I just... Huh? A drone? Now! This is the place. I've scanned the area with the drone. Move.
Can't I let someone else do it?
No. I'm sure Grim taught you not to question your captain's orders. Either you kill her or you drop your weapon and I kill you. Do it.
But...
Do it!
I can't.
I always said Grim was too soft on you. We're not here to convince the Victorians to give our homeland back. If you can't do it, you're going to get it. Huh? A drone? Captain, the workers are revolting. What? Feist, we've got the doctor giving orders here. We'll keep the mercenaries pinned down. Go and get Catherine. Alright. Are you out of your minds? No, we're not. Do you know how valuable an experienced worker is? They're in high demand, you know.
Feist, you...
You could have lived longer if you pretended to not know anything.
Too bad Granny always says I never know when to shut up.
You think you can beat me?
No, but maybe she can.
What?
Bollocks, that thing was heavy. Thanks, George. That felt good.
Thank Feist. What about you, Sarkas? Not gonna fight?
Girl, your captain was right. This isn't the time to talk about right or wrong. We can't. But if you don't know what you're fighting for... No. You can't go.
Guess I've got no choice then. Charge! What's going on? Where is everybody? I'm gonna have to report this if I don't get a response. The Sarkas warrior feels weightless. In his blurring vision, he sees a black figure just before he collapses. It was another Sarkas. Why, Sarkas?
Last one.
Ascalon is talking to herself, but she puts away the weapon with complete confidence that she is right. She can clearly see the angry worker routing the Sarkas mercenaries from her position. Violence without strength of numbers was easily broken before years of pent-up anger. The balance of power is reversed. Memories float to the surface. She casts her gaze in another direction. The center of Londinium. We've tied up all the mercs. How many injuries?
Not many. The mercenaries with this kid were in a panic and slow to react. They didn't even make up their minds to fight. We just... You tried to resist, but you were ambushed by cunning Londinianers. Ascalon has cleaned up Ascalon has cleaned up outside. We don't have much time. Their way, only a few old-timers had to die. Now the circus will have all your heads. Is this your clever idea, Feist? Put all these years of patience to waste? No. If we watched you sacrifice yourselves to save our skins today, there'll be another group of victims tomorrow. Until everybody only cares about themselves. And that's not your choice to make for all of us. You're right, but it's not yours either. This time, though, everyone came to rescue you of their own accord. The Sarkas have occupied the city for years. Life is hard, but there are some red lines we can't let them cross. If we didn't come here today, the Sarkas will eventually boil us all. George, you too? It's not all of you here. That means there are some who don't want to see me come back alive. Reality is crueler than you think, Feist. Right and wrong isn't so simple. But what's done is done.
Catherine looks at Feist. It seems like she wants to say something. She does not, however.
Let's go.
Alright, and we continue on to a stage that is just a cutscene once again. 11:10, Swords Crossed. Before the flames of war catch alight, tranquility brings its own terror. Guard this place. Watch your formation, keep an eye on her movements. You know who it is we're facing. Don't be like those stupid mercs. Here she comes. Watch her hands. She could draw her sword at any... Watch the lights and shadows. Don't try to follow the sword. The Sarkas with white horns silently carries her sword in her arms. Wordlessly, she keeps moving forward. The guards instinctively step back. Hold your ground! She stops. Under the gaze of the guards, she raises her left hand and takes out a small piece of paper from within her tattered robe.
I came as appointed, as he wished. No need to be on guard. Which way to Riverbank Street? Shining! What are you doing standing there? Get out of the way! I told you we had a family meeting today.
Understood.
What took you so long, Shining? I've been waiting. Salus. It's not time yet. No, it's not. The leader won't be angry. Come in, dinner's ready. Look at you. Have you not had anything decent to eat since you left Londinium? I've talked to the leader. Tonight's menu is being prepared to Royal Victorian Academy of Science banquet standards. Oh, Shining, Shining! How long has it been since the old days when we used to chat at the dinner table? Tell me what you've seen and heard. Leader, Shining's back.
Welcome.
Sit. This is your place. We just came to Londinium then. It was a long time ago. It has been empty ever since you killed those poor souls and fled with the test subject. That betrayal chilled the clan to the bone. But I don't blame you. Sit. I can't wait. I've hardly had a good meal lately, staying all night in the labs.
She pulls a chair and sits by the right-hand side of the white-horn confessarius leader. He stops speaking and sits with his eyes half closed. A moment later, Shining puts down her sword and walks toward the only chair that is empty by the long table. This is a picture.
Talk about your experiment, Salus. Work at the dinner table. Alright. There isn't much to talk about. I'm doing my best to extract emotions from memories, but the voices of the dead don't linger long on my fingertips. I've gotten some results, but only fragments. I'm running into a bottleneck. The information is like branches cut from their trees. You can reconstruct the shape of the tree, but a tree can't survive without its roots, much less grow new sprouts. And I can't capture voices from further before, never mind bring them back to the present. Like time, life only goes in one direction. A description of its nature must necessarily be abstract and literary. Even the original arts of you and Shining can only capture an instant.
The King of Sarkas is the exception.
That knowledge and the technology are like a waterfall, yet we can never find its source or draw fresh water from it. My research has stalled since Shining experiments stopped. What about you, leader? Is the region planning something big? You've been spending most of your time in Vestaleg or the Shard. You hardly came to my lab anymore.
The region's plan is at a crucial stage.
I'm not sure I understand. From Kasdal...
Now I wonder if that is a typo yet again, but I'm just gonna read it as it says here.
From Kasdal to Kasdal, the confessary service to those in power has always been one of pure mutual gain. But you've been so close to the region that people on the outside are beginning to think the confessarius is the region's lieutenant.
Since when have we cared, Salus?
This is hardly the first time they've misunderstood the confessari. What's different about Theresis?
I would not recommend saying that name without earshot of General Manfred.
That's why I'm doing it in front of family. Like his predecessor, he came from no royal court, and his bloodline is far less pure than yours or Shining's. None of their ancestors have ever caught the confessari's attention. We've never gathered memories from their bloodlines. Even if the King of Sarkas chooses his sister, it does not mean that her brother...
Just as I've told you, Salus. Power comes from blood. Blood inherits memory. Memory accumulates sin. Sin forms shackles. Only those unbound by history can truly unshackle power.
Alright. May the glory of all return to the land under their majestic guidance.
No, Salus. Succeed or fail, the region will make an impact on the Sarkas. This is what is most frequently ignored.
By the way, the test subject you took, what's her name again? Liz? How's she doing?
Liz is doing fine.
Is Oripathy taking its toll on her? She is unusual, even if Dame Calcid is at that medical institution you found. They may not be able to truly help her. It's good that she's back in Londinium. Your lab's still here with everything. You can bring her back anytime.
Is the food not to your taste, my dear sister?
It's been such a long time since you've been home. Speak up. If this is about Liz, I apologize, but you know Liz is not your average infected. Who's responsible for her suffering and consciousness? Who's responsible for her pain and memories? Can you continue to get along after she remembers all that? She's not family. You have to... She's my family. Oh. But she's going to become an empty shell if you don't come back to us. Don't forget why she was built that way. If you really care for her, I hope the end won't be too painful. Come back. I'm sure you understand.
You understand. That's why you answered my invitation, isn't it? From Originium to the truth of the King of Sarkas, we've reached a clearer conclusion. She's simply an old cage. We could build a new one if we had to.
Enough. I've never seen you really angry, even when you hurt your own colleagues and took the girl. I guess I don't need to ask what went through you all these years. What I can see is that you see outsiders as more important than family.
Salus empties her cup, which contained only water. There was no wine. She does not like drinking, especially at work. Her shadow sways under the light. This was not supposed to be a workday.
You're not my family. Haven't I made that clear enough?
You have. Shining does not look at the untouched food or the other two confessari by her side. She simply stands up, holding her sword in her arms.
I've asked the man watching Liz to leave. There's no need to send me any more invitations. The next time we meet, I expect it'll be in battle. Ask them to leave. Shining, you really think you're going to just leave like this? There's nothing left for us to talk about. What if I said I don't want you to leave? You can't stop me. I think I can make you stay and chat for a little longer. No?
The leader of the confessari silently sips his wine. Shining can feel Salus activate her arts. She could leave by pulling her sword, but what would happen then? Will that really help her save Liz? Shining.
Leader, I wasn't really about to use force against Shining. Why did you stop me?
I've allowed you to act on your own. I've allowed you to be absent from my side. But do not interfere with the Regent's plans. Do not hinder the Sarka's path to our long-awaited future. Shining, my sister. No one can truly break free from the bloodline, no matter how much she might detest it, how much she might desire to break those shackles. It is meaningless to try to deny the gift of blood.
I thought you already knew. Not everything will go according to your plan. Father.
Now that was a meeting and a conversation and a half. Also, father, not brother, father. Now I do wonder what that actually means and if it's something that he established and just calls everybody brother and sister in the leadership of the confessari. But that is apparently her dad. That is not her brother or some long-lost sibling. That is Shining's dad, apparently. Oh boy. that is a hornet's nest. Anyway, Your Highness.
My, Latou. Why such a frown on your face? Is the wine not good enough for you? Or is the flavor of the food too light? Good wine should be paired with the futile resistance of the weak against fate, and the arrogance of heroes who drown in prophecy. Even I am amazed at how they write their own stories for their own entertainment. Unfortunately, our Victorian friends are too reliant on fiction. We've seen better stuff, have we not, Latou?
I just saw you feed a nobleman's wife and children to your troops. I support the vetting of potential insurgents, but... His voice dies in his throat. It is as though all the blood in his body has been forced to his esophagus. He falls to his knees and opens his mouth in desperation, but cannot find any air. A blood mist comes over his vision. He sees the vampire still sitting in his place, elegant and calm, not even bothering to look at him. Lieutenant Colonel! Form up, protect the commander.
You'll fight with me here? That's not what the taste of your blood tells me. Fear, worry. They're screaming for you to back off, to run away.
Hold the line! The lips of the soldiers are as pale as their faces. They hold their weapons with their trembling hands, sabers, bows, what Victoria has made for them. They are the finest soldiers, unafraid of the streltsy of Ursus, the arts of Lithanian, or the broadside guns of Columbia. But they are afraid of the Sarkas sitting before them. Put down your weapons! Stand down! Stand down! Lieutenant Colonel, this is an order. Yes, sir. The soldiers back off in an orderly manner. It took a lot of Latou's strength to give the order. He stops resisting and accepts the eternal darkness that the Sarkas has prepared for him. Then he hears the silky voice again.
Latou, Latou. I thought we were friends. Friends should trust each other, shouldn't they? I think I've been kind, overlooking those little extracurricular activities of you and your men. Deals under the table, black markets in the alleys. I've turned a blind eye to them because I don't think greed and desire should be punished. But I didn't expect the same trust in return. But I expected the same trust in return. Many Gaulish nobles keep foul beasts as pets, building jeweled cages for the adorable things, flying them down on soft and delicate cushions. All the foul beasts need to do is squawk, and they'll be served the finest food. When the foul beasts are in a bad mood and peck their masters eagerly tell people of the intelligence and personality of their foul beasts. But do you think the foul beasts have tamed their masters?
Air returns to Latou's lungs. It takes him some time to stand again, his limbs still trembling, but he does his best to keep the trembling out of his voice. Thank you for your mercy, Your Highness. And look who's back. March! March! Stay in line! I heard you were looking for me. How are your injuries? Same as ever. Won't interfere with the mission. Good. I just got a message. Here. Let me see. Lost contact with the mercs sent to Highbury. They should have been in communication an hour ago. The military commission is dissatisfied with the recent performance of the mercenaries. Soldiers must pay attention to a greater battlefield. The region and I had high hopes for the mercenaries. I'll find out what happened to them. No need. I've made arrangements. There is a possibility that they ran into an old acquaintance of yours. Who could be as concerned about the circus supply lines as we ourselves? Let me guess. The Doctor and Ascalon. Are they investigating the Highbury Mansion factories, or are they already preparing to attack the other hubs with information about the supply lines? Tend to your injuries, mercenary. You don't need any more wounds before I find your old friends, one by one.
Doctor, you're here. Did you get the intel from the factory?
Some potential depots, half of the puzzle.
Not bad. I was thinking what I would have to do to extract you and Feist if something went wrong.
We had Ascalon. One more thing, Ascalon. Can I ask another favor? Can you reach W?
She operates on her own devices.
That young Sarkas mercenary. She may need help.
W will know.
Closure, did you see...
Doctor?
You turn around at the voice. You see a familiar sight coming towards you.
We're here.
Amia. Long time no see.
Yes, same here. When you suggested that we split up a few days ago, I knew it was the right call, but... At least we came back together all right. I'm so happy about that.
What about your work, Closure?
Don't worry, I'm pretty well prepared over here. I don't know if the defenses share the same weakness across Londinium, but there must be common characteristics to the framework. I've updated the drone's intrusion program based on intel from Misery and Horn, as well as the data taken from the artillery control room. Get the drone close to the core of the Defense Forces command tower, and I can break into the system and access traffic records from the past 10 days within 30 minutes.
Can you do it in 20?
Yeah, tomorrow will be a hard day. We've been probing the response of the Sarkas army within Londinium in the last few days. We expect Manfred and the Vampire to show up quickly. Ascalon, Logos, and I will do our best to delay them. However...
The longer it takes, the more dangerous it is.
The Sarkas of the Royal Court could appear at any time. Yes, Doctor. Dr. Kalsit is helping us delay the Nachtseer and Lich, but there are only so much time she can buy.
We can't handle multiple members of the Royal Court at once. Watch the signal and be ready to pull out at a moment's notice.
Understood. Rodan and the Self-Salvation Corps are ready.
Big things are being prepared.
Allerdale, the mercenaries are looking for you. Sorry, I was distracted. What did you say? No, I'm the one who should apologize. Maybe we could have saved the Elishi together if I wasn't so anxious to leave. I know she's important to you. She's my only family. House Cumberland is no more. One woman does not make a family, eh? Maybe it was something that should have happened a long time ago. Delayed until today. Don't say that, Allerdale. That vampire will be made to pay. I promise. The steam armor was lost in the fire. Maybe that's for the better. That way, I won't have to see it anymore. Vina, can you take me to the Glasgow gang? I can pretend nothing ever happened. I carry nothing on my shoulders. I'll just be your brain trust. Oh, sorry. I forgot you had Morgan. I'll just be a thug then. We'll bomb the circus camp together. You'll light a fire, and I'll kick their commander's arse once there's smoke. I'm joking. I know. My path is long determined, Vina. Why do you say that? You're still with us. The Glasgow gang has more stories to write. So, the answer is yes. I'll make sure you come back unharmed after kicking that commander's arse. That's my promise. I see. Thanks. Let's leave the jokes at that. I would begin to believe them if this went on. Alright, I've got to go. Totter and the mercenaries are waiting for me. We need to double check our route. Get ready, Vina. The Sigh of Kings is before us.
Shit, I'm trying to remember who was the... Oh, right.
Would you have said yes if she truly invited you to leave? Clovicia? The walls of Londinium are tall. Few are able to escape their shadows. But you did. You escaped the palace and escaped Londinium. Perhaps Allerdale envies you because of that. She has forced herself to carry the Cumberland name for 20 years. But you're different. You thought about leaving your name behind, didn't you? I can't deny that. But I'm here now, regardless of what I thought. Victoria is on the brink right now, and I must fight for her. Victoria. Kings, nobles, merchants, soldiers, workers. People often use the word Victoria to justify their actions, but it has done nothing to quell the endless conflict over the centuries. Who defines what Victoria is? Is it the 60 nomadic cities and the land around them? Or the 40 million people that live within? Or the monarch who rules them? Your Royal Highness Alexandrina Vina Victoria. Why have you come back when you say you came back for Victoria?
Full name and title.
The noble mansions have been burned to the ground. Wonder how many survivors there are. The Sarkas are planning something big, and the defense forces aren't trying to hide it anymore. This street may never be the same again.
Golding knows that the visit from the commander means her identity is no longer a secret. She wanders the streets aimlessly, filled with a deep feeling of helplessness. Perhaps it was always futile for humans to fight the tide. Adam's bookstore is open, but the familiar warm yellow light is absent. Golding has a bad feeling. The bookstore is empty, but the smell of blood fills every corner, so thick it might as well have taken physical form. Golding realizes that the ground is sticky. Not just the ground, the counter, the cashier, the books on the shelves, and the teapot that Adams always has by his side. Everything has been painted a shade of light red. Blood. The nausea that has been bothering Golding for days explodes uncontrollably. She runs onto the streets and begins to vomit.
Are you okay? Molly? You don't look well. Here, take my shoulder. We still have time, Lady Golding. Your part is not over yet. You said that education was your strength, didn't you? My strength. Let's go back. We preserved for so long. We'll see this to an end. To the end.
I'm counting on you. Don't worry, we'll get our new friends to the base safely.
You're not coming with us.
I have another mission. Your grandson is a pretty big deal in the Corps, after all.
Real big deals don't usually boast about it.
Oh, and I have to return this, Granny.
Your badge.
I'm not a worker anymore. I shouldn't be wearing this outside. Being smart isn't enough to fool death. Those who are gone will never come back, and the wounds left behind do not necessarily fade with time. But I don't want to spend night after night in regret, staring at machines with no one to use them. Because I will go into each and every night. I will carry the torch left behind by those who are gone and keep walking. Until the cold is driven out and the path ahead is no longer dark. And even then, I'll keep walking. Not for some ethereal hope. Not because I'm still waiting for someone to make a stand for us. You said it, that we build Londinium with our own hands. Even if the city is reduced to rubble tomorrow, we'll start rebuilding it the day after. Feist says all that in one breath. His words are met with silence, but he finds that the silence no longer makes him anxious. A thought comes to his mind as he gazes upon his grandmother standing by the production line. When did her hair turn so white?
Go, if your mind's made up.
Let me see. Bye, Granny.
Feist.
Feist glimpses a small card flying toward him from the corner of his eye. It is the badge that he just returned. He smiles. I'll be back, Granny. With victory. I know you'll be proud of me, so there's no need to say goodbye. What I really want you to know is I'll be proud of this factory no matter where I go in the future. And, you too. Also, I thought about the question you asked. The things that disappoint you so much, the betrayal, the suspicions, people who can't work together, I know we'll have to face them again. But if knowing that means we have to abandon our trust in others, then we won't survive this war. We have to face it sooner or later, win or lose. One more thing. I've never seen inside the suit of a seam knight, but I'll always remember the silhouette hammering away by the production line. You've always been my hero, and you always will be. Bye, for real, before this gets too awkward. Bang, clang, bang. The production line keeps running, as though nothing has ever changed. Brat. Feist hears a familiar sigh from deep inside the factory. He waves without looking back and walks into the sunlight outside. From holy boatload of information Batman at the beginning to, oh wow, that is wholesome. That was a scene, alright. But yeah, that was a meaning there at the beginning. Boy, how will this go? Anyway, We continue on to stage 1111, titled What We Know is Unalike. Our arms should be faced at the Our arms should be faced at the enemy, not at one another. "9:37 a.m. Overcast. Near the City Defense Force main command tower, Outerik district of Londinium.
All Rhode Island Spec Ops Team Amia hands. As per our plan, we will work with the Self-Salvation Corps and launch an ambush on Londinium Defense Forces command tower. We have only one objective: obtain the message logs from the defense system about the Sarkis supply line. These messages will determine the success or failure of our entire Londinium operation. And that's even if we most likely can no longer stop Theresis from declaring war on the Dukes. But if we get our hands on this information, we'll have a chance to slow the pace of war and reduce the sacrifices that come with it to a minimum. We may have come well prepared, but we need to expect the unexpected. All of us know in our hearts that in the coming war each battle will be more difficult than the last. But we came all this way for the same unshakable goal. It's time to keep going. Doctor.
Amia, we have another emergency on our hands.
Doctor, I know you're worried about me. I can't say for sure that I'm ready, but ever since we left Sudan, I've been thinking about what it will be like to see her again. If she stands opposite us, I want to know why. I want to feel everything that she feels. But just as I told the operators, I will never forget why we came here in the first place. I understand very well that the future of the Sarkas and the whole world that Theresa hoped for is slipping further and further away. It's exactly the future that I, Dr. Kaltzin, and all the operators who came to Londinium with us hoped for. For that, we are prepared to face anything, and we will fight each battle like it is our last.
Let's move then.
Right, Doctor. Let's go.
The Sarkis army has been quick to mobilize lately. Yes, Lieutenant Colonel. Everyone has been saying what? They've been saying that the Sarkas are going to strike the Duke's forces soon. When that happens, they will throw us onto the battlefield as their cannon fodder. My apologies, Lieutenant Colonel. I've spoken out of turn. No, I don't blame you. We all trust you, sir. We all know how difficult it is to negotiate with the Sarkas. But you've done it. All these years, it was you who kept us safe. Even the time the Duke of Stafford revolted. If it wasn't for how accurate your judgment was, I would have been killed long ago by the rebels' cannon fire. You saved us time and again, and you protected the city from all sorts of conspiracies. As long as you're behind the decision, none of us will question it. I know that. It's precisely because I know that. What's that sound in the streets down there? It's the cargo track. They must be transporting construction material for the Sarkas. On guard! What's going on? Good morning. Wait, where did all these men come from? Save your breath, unless you're willing to cough up the coin. Mercenaries? Who sent you? Which duke?
We don't know any dukes, and they certainly wouldn't know us.
Are you the rebels?
We're the Londinium Citizens Self-Salvation Corps.
Salvation Corps?
You know what this is about. You should have been the ones fighting the Sarkas, but you chose to raise the white flag. That left us no choice but to rise up ourselves.
Hold your ground, don't let them into the tower.
Soldier, you're Victorian, aren't you?
I am.
20,000 Defense Force men are stationed across the city. Aside from those who were killed or captured, every last one of them is bound to the land they stand on by the same order, becoming an accessory to Sarkis' crimes. There is no way you are not aware that Sarkis will soon be launching a war on all of Victoria. When that time comes, will you still stand still with the Sarkis against your own friends and family? Perhaps all you want is to survive, but you are not Sarkis. You will never truly earn their trust. Once the war begins in earnest, they could abandon you at any moment. I can see your hesitation. In the end, you are only footmen. It is the man who gives you your orders, not you, who we must confront. So stand aside.
Do not give ground. Not one of you. We will hold the line here. We are soldiers. We trust our commander. We must follow our orders. Lieutenant Colonel, the enemy is attacking the defensive line. No idea where or how they came all of a sudden. Even if they snuck along the cargo track and managed to slip past the Sarkis checkpoints on the surface, there's no way they could have gotten through the tower's surveillance system. Unless someone hacked the system and took down all the sentinels within a very short period of time. But that's impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
A shadow flies forward toward him. He can smell the scent of death. Unlike the sense of viscous suffocation he felt before the sanguine arc of vampires, he knows he will die a quick and relatively painless death. Which is why he chooses not to pointlessly attempt a dodge. Out of my way. Rhode Island. So you've come after all. Ascalon, how long has it been? 9 days ago, when you barged into Vestaleg. Were you also prepared to brandish the weapon the General bestowed upon you directly at him, as you are doing now?
Yes. And unlike you, I will not hesitate.
Alright then. This is obviously where we proceed into combat, but not before we address our new addition to our enemies here, which is the Londinium Precision Mobile Defense Artillery. Part of Londinium's city defenses, has a very large attack area and greatly improved accuracy, built by the city's workers in their factories. And then we go over to stage 11-12. Comes as a torrent. The one stood here has no particular status nor reputation. Her goal is simply that peace may return to the people's lives. And obviously, because this is a after story, we will go over another new addition, or rather a elite version of the steam tank that we already went over, titled the Scorching Steam Tank. Advanced armor vehicle employing Victorian steam technology. Even more dangerous when it has taken damage. Virtually unstoppable when it is on a rampage. That text is not kidding. That thing melts stuff when it goes hyper nuts. But anyway, let us finish off the story segment with the after story for this stage.
We're here. This path connects the palace and the ducal manor.
Siege whispering.
Golden Mane.
What did you just say, Vina?
No, it's nothing. It's been a long time since I saw them. Not long ago, we left this place. Today we walk these ancient bricks again. This path has likely never been trodden this frequently. It was only meant for emergencies.
Too bad. Be the ducal manor or the palace, it has never really served anyone in their time of need.
Mercenary, if you don't want to buy everyone here a drink, you better not joke about that.
Right then.
Ellerdale, you said I once came back through this passage with the Sigh of Kings. I really don't remember that. This has me very restless. It's as though I am purposefully avoiding a great responsibility. Vina, it's okay. You were too young then. Anyone who tried to force any kind of responsibility onto a child that had only just learned to speak would have been extraordinarily selfish. No mistake about it. Apologies, I might have insulted someone close to you. Actually, I rather agree with what you said. But now we've come back nonetheless. Responsibility? Miracles? I have no idea what they expected of me, nor do I really care. But I stand here today and I have something I must accomplish. I shan't take on any titles because of it. I'm doing this so that the people will know peace again. We are approaching our objective then. Sirs, please tear down the brick wall blocking the path up ahead. Be quiet. Don't let them find us. We need to go down from here. Right,
As I walk through the darkness, I hear footsteps from behind me. Golden Mane.
What's the matter, Vina? Never mind. Let's keep going.
No one on our tail. The circus couldn't have figured out we would go down. They must be throwing quite a party above us.
It's possible that our allies are sacrificing their lives in this intense battle. I was actually apprehensive when Ellerdale proposed this plan. I should be standing with the corp fighters and Rhode Islanders. The Doctor's plan is meant to ensure our operation remains undetected. No matter what happens above ground, we must get our hands on the Sigh of Kings. It is the key to foiling the circus's plans and can even turn the tide of the war. The sword, I've only heard of it in the stories. It was the sword of the Aslan forefathers. As the legend goes, it was forged for the Aslan by the Fairy of the Grasslands. A Pasha of yore once beheaded the Poltergeist King with it. Then the Aslan came to Victoria to rule, and it became the symbol of their reign. According to some historical records, in the days before the nomadic cities came to be, the kings once cleaved catastrophes with it. For centuries there was not a single storm to threaten Londinium. The masses believed that as long as the Sigh of Kings remains, Londinium would overcome all her foes forever, be they powerful poltergeists or terrifying catastrophes. You can't really believe... I do. I believe in Vina. It's like you're trying to change the subject. Of course I believe in Vina too, but you can tell right away it's just a fairy tale. That's not real. That is in fact not a fabrication to legitimize the Aslan reign. It really can cleave catastrophes. If the shard, with its ability to pull in storms, is Victoria's spear against the outside world, then the Sigh of Kings, capable of rending catastrophes asunder, is its strongest shield. The spear is known far and wide, yet the shield exists almost only in legend. But if we are able to wield this power, we will almost certainly be able to stop the Sarkis's ambitions. Ellerdale, you're very familiar with the Realm Blade. I'm only fulfilling my responsibilities as a member of House Cumberland. Have you seen the blade with your own eyes? Yes, but only once. What I saw was something that could only happen in a dream. What did the blade look like? It was beautiful. It has the power to live in one's heart. The moment you lay your eyes upon it, you'll believe from the pit of your soul that you can triumph over everything. A bit over the top, innit? Legends. Maybe that's about the sarkas? Is that sword especially good at cutting sarkas? Is cutting all you think about? If Vina had beaten that sanguinarch's bloody with her hammer the other day, it didn't have a story like that in 200 years. That just might happen. Then Rhode Island will become the fairy that bestowed the hammer. Foger will probably be happy about that. The Ark of God in the Barren Lands, the Return of the King. How's that a story? It's all real.
Thank you, Indra.
In 20 years, the story of the great King Vina leading the Londinians to chase out the King of Sarkas is bound to become a favorite story of all the kids that run around in front of our houses. Then I've got to spend some time thinking how to better tell Vina's story. This isn't my story. The bold, fearless Hannah Indra Jackson, the witty Kate Morgan, and the loyal, tenacious Isabella Montague. Also, the noble, upright Allerdale Cumberland. This is your story.
Before I continue here, I already said it, I think, in a older episode, how Arthurian this is becoming. And this is very funny to me because of several reasons, so bear with me for a moment. So we have Vina here, who is going to pick up a blade, which is literally the blade of legend, Excalibur. Well, it's not called Excalibur here, but I mean, what else is it gonna be, right? Well, at least in our world's perspective of myth and legend. But yeah, essentially we have Vina here going to pick up a blade, which is a stand-in essentially kind of for Excalibur. We pretty much have the Knights of the Round Table around her already. And on top of which, the blade is apparently powerful enough to cleave through catastrophes. Now that is a statement. And here is the funny thing. For those of you who do not know, in Japanese, Vina's VA is the same voice actress that voices the character of Saber. That is, I think, a name and designation that should ring bells in pretty much anybody's head who ever heard about anime. If you haven't, Saber, or aka a certain historical figure, wields Excalibur that cleaves the shit out of everything. That is so meta. I wonder when they were casting the VA for Vina how much was established and how meta they were going with this shit. Because I just find it funny that it's literally the same thing. Is that kind of typecasting? Is that typecasting? That made me laugh so much when it started to slowly develop here. I was just like, oh god, this is literally just that, right? Yep, this is literally just that right now. If she doesn't yell Excalibur at some point and cleaves the shit out of something, I'll be vastly disappointed. Anyway, pardon, I had to get that out. Thanks for the laugh.
Let's keep going. The story isn't going to write itself.
Again, I do not know how to pronounce this word because it literally only pops up in Arknights apparently, so... Kingasika? Whatever. This is the weirdest name ever. Unless... now that I think about it, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna reveal that the translation... I mean, it's already the Sigh of Kings, and Kingasika could be translated just to Sigh of Kings in the Victorian language, but I wonder if it's not a translation of the blade, but a title of the blade, and they're just gonna pull a, hey, it's Excalibur, but they're gonna just slightly alter the name a bit. Anyway. But yeah, Kingasika, the Sigh of Kings. In her heart, Siege thinks to herself that she must have seen it before. They're only vague fragments of memories and unclear voices. My dear daughter, come, take this sword. It is calling to you. Feel it. Feel this voice. Feel Victoria. The palace is burning. She wants to climb up and see what kind of show they're putting outside. Things are always very lively on the king's birthday, but all she sees is fire. The fire rages. There are also many men in uniform, either fleeing in all directions away from the flames or lying lifelessly on the ground. The earth trembles. She's suddenly worried about the glass foul beast by her bed. It's a gift that she has just received. Lately, she hasn't been able to sleep without hugging that delicate little trinket. Her Royal Highness Alexandrina, don't go back, it's dangerous. Thank goodness you ran outside. You're their only objective aside from His Highness. His Majesty has... No, you didn't know this. He left us with one final order, to get you away.
Vina, what's wrong? You've been rather out of it since we came underground. I remembered something. Something that I thought I'd forgotten long ago. The kind that hurts to remember, or the kind that brings you joy. It's just a voice.
Your Highness, you must walk the rest of the way on your own. You were here not too long ago. You remember, don't you? They're coming for us. No matter what happens, you must keep running down this passage. Do not turn back. She listens to the officer and keeps running. The path ahead is pitch black, but she is more afraid of the star-like glow chasing her from behind. She runs and runs for a long, long time. She's forgotten where she started and where she's going. She's almost cried all the tears she had, and the path before her is so long that she can't see its end. She runs and runs, and a huge golden mane appears beneath her. She holds tight to the warm golden color, and it feels as though she too has become a wild beast dashing on all fours. At last, she no longer fears the nightmare that chases her. She cries for the things she has lost no more. Instead, she dashes forward freely in the darkness. The phantoms have disappeared, and the memories recede like the tide. She finds herself standing in the middle of a long path. At the end of the path is a door. The door divides life and death, and whether it leads from life to death or from death to life, it opens only to the King of Victoria.
We're here.
And yep, this is where we're gonna end for today. But before we end, we have another entry that open up with stage 11-12. On the left, we have a military award. The highest military award issued by Victoria, only found in the possession of truly heroic Victorian soldiers. You'll find more than one hanging in the White Wolf family hall to boot. And the text says, Lucia Scamandros was the daughter of the 4th White Wolf Count. She served in the Londinium City Guard before joining the Knights of the Tower at the age of 22. With the permission of the King of Aslan, she relinquished her title during the Kazdal campaign to join the expeditionary force. She fought bravely in battle, leading her troops to capture a fortress near Kazdal alongside the Steam Knights, killing a vampire prince and multiple highly ranked Nachtzer officers. She was given the highest military honors upon return to Victoria, inheriting her father's title 5 years later. So yeah, Horn's ancestor, essentially. But yeah, this is where we're gonna end for today. Next time we're gonna continue and see how this goes, but oh boy. Oh boy is all I can say to this. Man, this thing on 1110 was something. So yeah, apparently, well, there's no hiding it. Obviously, they were talking about the experimentation that was performed on Nightingale, and yeah, this is a can of worms. All right then, but yeah. Let's see how the story develops in the future and how will this end. But yeah, anyway, thank you all for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed this part. If you did, consider leaving a like. It helps the videos in the algorithm. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. There is a lot of narrated content like this on the channel. So take your pickings. Maybe there is a story you've never had the time to read and just want to lean back and listen to it while you do something else. Who knows? But outside of that, there is also a Discord. The link is in the description of the video if you want to join the community over there. Slowly growing over time. And yeah, once again, thank you all for listening and watching. I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next part. Until then, bye bye.